So we have kind of St. Paul's. This is the last speech we really get from St. Paul as he kind of concludes his defense, his apology in Palestine, and then he's off to Rome. And it's what a beautiful compliment to the passage of Jesus telling the disciples that they're going to be dragged in front of synagogues, they're going to be dragged before kings and be given an opportunity to testify to them and to the Gentiles. And so here you have Paul personally fulfilling that prophecy of Jesus for his followers. And I love St. Paul's kind of conclusion. It's like, I know you believe. I just love that. I just love that ending. And of course they make fun of him. It's like, do you think you're really being, do you really think a lot of yourself, Paul, that you think you're going to make a convert of me in this short amount of time? And, and Paul simply says, basically, I'd love for you to be a convert, except, I don't wish these chains on you, but I wish my joy on you. I think Paul conducts himself in such a beautiful way that we can emulate. In a sense, we can, when we speak to others of Jesus in both word and action, in a sense, what we're doing is calling forth a belief that's already in their hearts. So look, Paul says, do you believe the prophets? I know you believe. We are called to call forth from our friends, neighbors, strangers, to call forth from the world the testimony that God has placed in their hearts. I know you can trust. I know you can trust in God's life, God's love, God's power. Join me in that trust, right? And that what we want to share with people is, in a sense, we share their sufferings, but we're called to share our joy. We don't bring the gospel to the world to kind of give the world our problems. Rather, that's kind of in sharing our chains. Rather, we preach a message of freedom, and we want people to be free, even as we ourselves are servants of this gospel. So in this conclusion, I just love how Paul just brings it all together, and this invitation, which is also a challenge. I know you believe. Come forth, take that chance, come with me into a relationship with God who loves us so deeply. So I commend that Pauline boldness to you as you live your life following Jesus. A reading from the Acts of the Apostles. While Paul was making this defense, Festus exclaimed, "You are out of your mind, Paul. Too much learning is driving you insane." But Paul said, "I am not out of my mind, most noble Festus, but I am speaking the sober truth. Indeed, the king knows about these things, and I speak to him freely, for I am certain that none of these things has escaped his notice. For this was not done in a corner. King Agrippa, do you believe the prophets? I know that you believe." Agrippa said to Paul, "Are you so quickly persuading me to become a Christian?" Paul replied, "Whether quickly or not, I pray to God that not only you, but also all who are listening to me today might become such as I am, except for these chains." Then the king got up, and with him the governor and Bernice, and those who had been seated with them. As they were leaving, they said to one another, "This man is doing nothing to deserve death or imprisonment." Agrippa said to Festus, "This man could have been set free if he had not appealed to the emperor." When it was decided that we were to sail for Italy, they transferred Paul and some other prisoners to a centurion of the Augustan cohort named Julius. Embarking on a ship of Adramyttium that was about to set sail to the ports along the coast of Asia, we put to sea, accompanied by Aristarchus, a Macedonian from Thessalonica. The next day we put in at Sidon, and Julius treated Paul kindly and allowed him to go to his friends to be cared for. Putting out to sea from there, we sailed under the lee of Cyprus because the winds were against us. After we had sailed across the sea that is off Cilicia and Pamphylia, we came to Myra in Lycia. There the centurion found an Alexandrian ship bound for Italy and put us on board. We sailed slowly for a number of days and arrived with difficulty off Cnidus. And as the wind was against us, we sailed under the lee of Crete off Salmone. Sailing past it with difficulty, we came to a place called Fair Havens, near the city of Lasea. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.